How many blokes here have been on the receiving end of domestic violence, and what's your story? Every person deserves to have their story told, and I feel that we as men don't have as much of a platform to tell our stories. Edit. At over 3K invites and 670 comments/replies, I hope that this thread has helped at least one man realize that they have been a victim, or even given someone the mental fortitude to get out of a dangerous situation. You all deserve the best.
She didn't start out that way, and I ignored a lot of red flags in the process. She slowly got worse as time went on. I was spit on in public, woken up at knife point, had bottles broken over my back, openly insulted and told how other guys are better at life than me. You name it, it likely happened to me. If I did anything other than take it, she threatened to ruin my career, life, and go to a lawyer, the police. The hardest part after things ended was relearning what was normal and healthy. She initiated the break, mercifully. I know I was so warped I wouldn't do it. That took longer than any time with her. It was also hard grasping why she did what she did. One day about 6 months later, she reached out to me. Turns out she was so insanely insecure and felt like dirt compared to me, even though she reassured me heavily that it was nothing I did. She told me that she was also so self-centered at the time that she projected onto me because of that, and never realized that I never thought of her that way, but it was her that warped our realities all the time. She said she didn't expect me to forgive her. Of course I didn't, and told her to go back to never speaking to me again, but part of the healing process was the aha moment where I regained my self-esteem and finally fully grasped what a lot of people had been telling me: you didn't deserve it. I don't really ask for sympathy on this matter. It actually makes me uncomfortable for people to mindlessly call me strong, brave, etc. The experience taught me a lot. I don't take anything I know is off or that I don't deserve in dating, and I have a very fulfilling dating life at age 26. I'm always like a hawk to guys being mistreated because of this.
Woman I was seeing punched me in the face while I was sleeping. All because another woman texted me. Had abusive GF when 22. That individual was lying, cheating, possibly lesbian but still in closet, violent when confronted, and I ended up with some stitches. Police totally ignored it even when her BF after me ended up in ER with broken arm. I took about 10-year hiatus after that to put myself together.
Was in a toxic and possessive relationship where she used to get physical violent. The worst part when one time she threatened me to accuse me of violence to the police, to which I reply, "I'm the one with bruises." She laughed and told me, "Tell that to T-Police, so they can laugh their assess off."
Not me, but my brother dated one. When he tried to break up with her, she locked him in her bedroom and threatened to tell the police he'd hit her if he tried to leave. He ended up jumping out a second-story window with his phone recording to get away. He never got the police involved or anything, just wanted to leave.
Gave her a key to my place. I was out of town a lot and my house was closer to her work, so she stayed there a lot. I came in a couple of days earlier than expected, at 1 a.m. in the morning, only to find an unfamiliar truck in my garage. Walked into the bedroom to find her blowing some rando who was also wearing one of my USMC shirts. Got rid of him and told her to leave. Took an armload of her things out to her car, and when I came back through the door, she snapped my collarbone with a Demorini softball bat. She kept swinging it, as I moved away from her, smashing everything in sight. He apparently called the sheriff's department because he was scared of what I would do, and as soon as they pulled up, she hit herself in the forehead with it and screamed before falling to the floor, accusing me of doing it. I spent 20 minutes in handcuffs, with a broken collarbone, until I convinced them to get my phone and check the camera footage from the security camera in the living room, something she forgot about. They uncuffed me, let her leave and asked if I needed an ambulance. Said it was a civil matter unless I hit her.
I have read through every comment, and the general thing that goes down is the girlfriends starts out by verbally assaulting them, then moves on to physically assaulting them, and when they boyfriend threatens to tell the police, the GF says, "Who are they gonna believe, you or me?" And then the GF starts hitting and bruising themselves to make it look realistic, and if the boyfriend shows proof, the GF gets off easy with a fair warning from the police even with proof.
I had a GF who got out of an abusive relationship. She was good for years but started to do things seemingly trying to upset me. Like breaking my things was a common one. Then she would look like she was getting ready for a fight.
Was with a girl diagnosed with BPD for about 5 years. Her episodes varied, but were usually short bouts of lows or long stretches of highs. We usually jumped on it quickly and got her medication adjusted to reduce the impact. The last 6 months was wild. It culminated in me being punched in the back of the head over 10 times while I was walking to the door while she was in a fit of rage. She rang the cops and told them she was scared I might retaliate, so I spent the night in lockup. About 2 weeks later she had another episode full of anger. She threatened to stab me and my 12-year-old son. I packed a bag of clothes for each of us, walked out the door and haven't seen her since. I felt that she definitely had the capacity to follow through with the threat during an episode, and reporting it to the police only put me at risk. I'm not sure what it's like now, but back then all male-centered domestic violence services revolved around preventing male perpetrators from committing violence. When I contacted services and explained my situation, it was difficult to hear them tell me all they could do was offer me an anger management course while I was couch surfing with a 12-year-old.
My ex beat me up several times. Other than pushing her away, I never touched her. I figured I could always outrun her. Unfortunately, all too often her bouts of anger turned violent. I received a broken nose and popped eardrum. I went to the police. They told me they would come to the house, take us both into custody, and take our 2 preteen children into child services. Then sort everything out later. The thought of taking the kids worried me. I ended up leaving for several days. Another time, in her bouts of rage, I called the domestic violence hotline. I was told quite plainly that there was absolutely no help for men. They had no referral for any help either. After our children left for college, we divorced. I saw her a couple years ago. We were cordial to each other. She told me I should not have left, that she was going to change. She had 25 years, she was never going to change. My one regret is that I wasted so many years hoping and praying for change. In the end, I gave up my house, job, family and friends, even moved to another country. I changed and got out.
All these stories in the comments make you angry for 2 reasons. A, that if the police are involved, the women doesn't get arrested because the court systems beep. B, that there are no domestic abuse shelters for men despite men making up a third of domestic abuse victims.
Wanna keep it simple and short. My mom seriously has problems in the mental area. I'm 19. Until almost 14-15 I got handled really bad. She used to hit me with objects, mark me, once stabbed me with a fork. Had an ex that would get beep and punch, slap me. She would dare me to hit her back, calling me a beep n beep lol. One time the cops showed up as I was trying to leave the apartment. She was grabbing onto my shirt trying to make me stay. Cops tackled me and sat me in cuffs for a few hours. I left for good after that.
Not me, but my boyfriend Beep was often violent towards him. Just one example is when she pushed him down the stairs because he had gone out with his friends. It makes me so angry because if it were the other way round and he had pushed her down the stairs, people would be after his blood. It's not fair. There's not enough support out there for dudes.
Don't know if it counts as domestic abuse, but I got slapped around a couple of times while she was beep. The worst of it was when I got lost in my thoughts on our way back from the pub while she was talking. She straight up kicked me in the shin. She had boots/heels and it hurt like a beep. It's not much compared to some of these comments, but nobody ever listens to these things, so, dudes, if someone hits you, that's it. Leave.